ready, Chair. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, councillors, officers, members of the public and press. Welcome to this meeting of our Regeneration Services Committee. This meeting is a remote meeting being live streamed on the website and also being recorded. I will now hand over to Denise Wimpenny from Democratic Services.
Thank you, Chair. We'll begin the meeting by way of a roll call of all those in attendance remotely. And may I request members to confirm they have a paper copy of the agenda and can both hear and see councillors in the meeting. I'll now begin the roll call. Councillor Christopher Akers-Belcher?
Yes, I have all the papers and I can see and hear everyone.
Thank you. Councillor Brown?
Yes to all.
Councillor Cassidy?
Yes to all.
Councillor Lindridge?
Yes to all.
Councillor Loynes?
Yes to all.
Councillor Marshall?
Yes to all.
Thank you. And Councillor Smith?
Yes to all.
Thank you. Can I ask if there are any councillors joining the meeting I have not called? I don't think there's anyone else. That now concludes the roll call. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Denise. So we'll move on to the agenda. It's just a single item agenda today, but we'll go through all the items on the published agenda. So item 1, are there any apologies for absence?
No apologies, Chair.
Okay. Item 2 then, to receive any declarations of interest by members. If there are none, no one's indicating, so I can move on to item 3.1. Our last meeting was held in the summer of last year. The minutes have already been circulated and they've been published. Has anybody got any items that they would need to raise on those minutes? If not, we've got nothing under item 4, nothing under item 5, and our item today requiring decision is in relation to the town's fund. I'm going to assume that all members have received the papers and have read the papers, and I'm going to hand over to our Managing Director, Denise McGuckin, who's going to talk us through a presentation picking out the main points of the report. Denise.
Thank you, Chair. First, can I put in the apologies for the Assistant Director for Development and Growth? She's asked me if I would be kind enough to do the presentation for her while she's busy working on our community testing, which will be hopefully going live next week. Rather than go through the report, Chair, I thought it'd be helpful to actually do a presentation because it is a very lengthy report with a number of appendices. So with no further ado, if everyone can see the screen, is that being shared?
Yes.
Yes.
Lovely, thank you. Okay, so a Towns Fund, Hartlepool was one of 100 towns invited to develop proposals where we could actually apply for up to £25 million to improve address growth constraints and unlock economic potential, and it's about driving long-term transformational change. The government expects the initial plans for the town deal will be led by local authorities, but we are required to establish a town development deal board and a town investment plan. So we have established a board, and that is chaired independently by the private sector member, Albie Patterson. We have memberships from a number of representatives across the North East Chamber of Commerce, Federation of Small Businesses, our 3 colleges, North Tees, NHS Foundation Trust, Love Hartlepool, Hartlepool United Football Club and Middleton Grange Shopping Centre. Proposals set out in the town investment plan align with the Towns Fund objectives, which is a strict criteria we have to follow. And at this stage, full business case development is not required. However, our town investment plan must complement other pre-existing strategy documents that have been developed with local partners, such as the Hartlepool Economic Growth Strategy, which runs from 2019 to 2021. The government's template and guidance must be followed. However, the Town Deal Board are free to develop Hartlepool-specific content. I won't go through that on the slide, Chair, because members can see that it was in the report. But our investment plan does show that we have a vision and we understand what resources are needed and what outcomes and impacts can be secured as a return on investment. Hartlepool is a town which has grown on change, evolution and reinvention, and our investment plan is our charter for change, and it says that we are prepared to lead the evolution of Hartlepool. This slide here sets out our outcomes and outputs, which we cover three areas: skills for a creative and productive town, value-driven rebound growth, and compact and connected waterfront market town. So yeah, as you can see, some of the aims actually run across two of those. And some are separate. So we will work with our education institutions to deliver the assets needed to continue to close the skills gaps and attract new learners. We will secure inward investment to establish high quality jobs and maximise digital connectivity inclusion, giving residents and business access to economic recovery and growth opportunities. It's really important we enhance and extend the town's visitor economy assets to make Hartlepool a multi-day destination rather than just a one-day destination. We want to improve the physical appearance of the town and promote civic pride with new visitors and new investment. And there are others which are on that slide. I won't go through them all. I've covered the main ones. The legacy challenges for Hartlepool won't be a surprise to members. Hartlepool is what is classed as a catching up town, is the new terminology. Major changes have occurred in the national economy in the last 40 years. The change has most profoundly impacted town economies like Hartlepool, and places without established historic networks for universities. Hartlepool has come a long way, but gaps persist, and the town's economy still does not sustain enough jobs or higher value employment and activity for the residents and young people in Hartlepool. At the start of the century, average earnings in Hartlepool were 21% behind the rest of the country. This is now a lot smaller, at only 11%, but there is a 3,000 deficit per worker per year and still has an effect on the value of the town's economy and residents' life chances. Hartlepool is in the lowest 20% of areas in the National Social Mobility Index, and to address this, we need to enable more people to gain qualifications and more people to progress to higher level skills and employment. In a post-high street retail world, which we all have seen rapidly decline over the last year, there is no obvious core to the town centre in Hartlepool. There's no obvious efficient network of movement routes for walking and cycling. The railway still forms a barrier between the centre and the waterfront, and some parts of the central area are tired and dilapidated. The image of the town centre is a constraint on attracting more and better jobs, with employers looking to locate into more urban areas. Therefore, we need to explore all avenues to drive up the baseline of employment, economic value and investment in Hartlepool. We need more jobs with more value by harnessing the potential of existing businesses and skills base and attracting new business to locate and grow in Hartlepool. Opportunities exist to secure additional private sector investment, and by improving our high-level skills base, selling our waterfront location, and I don't mean selling it, marketing it and developing its potential, providing a better connected, better functioning town centre, attractive to new workers and businesses, and promoting the coastal lifestyle offered to new businesses and residents. We need to look at the rapid development of new and enhanced skills in Hartlepool. We need to stay competitive, a key to post-COVID rebound. The town needs to build for the skills for the future. And we need a town centre that works better for our community and is more attractive for private investment, businesses and learners. And we need to have an emphasis on the experience, the convenience and the sense of community. As part of the Town Deal investment plan, we did a lot of consultation. This commenced before Christmas, and some of the quotes you see on there were actually from the residents of Hartlepool. The level and quality of community engagement during a COVID crisis was impacted, but I was pleasantly surprised at the number of responses that we got. We have had over 470 residents and over 70 businesses return their comments. Activities that we undertook: we did do one-to-one COVID safe sessions with stakeholders using MS Teams. We had resident surveys completed. We went to our Regeneration Tourism Business Forum, and we've worked with the voluntary and community sector, plus a host of social media and other press campaigns. A range of previous surveys were analysed to supplement the data, and a second round of community engagement took place in January to obtain feedback on a number of shortlisted projects, which I will come on to later in the presentation. The consultation results, I wasn't surprised at, but and I'm sure members won't be either. The top 5 priorities for improving Hartlepool were attractiveness as a place to live, work and visit, availability of jobs, regenerating the town centre, looking at visitor attractions, and also improving our leisure facilities. We asked residents to rate how well Hartlepool Town Centre meets a variety of needs, from food shopping through to cultural events. For nearly every town centre service, respondents felt that Hartlepool does not meet the needs, and it's particularly the case for non-food shopping, for example, clothes, sports, leisure, events, festivals, and evening entertainment. The chart here for members shows that the key factors considered to be holding back business growth in Hartlepool relate to the quality of the town centre, with 76% of respondents either agreeing or strongly agreeing to that. The perceptions of Hartlepool, again, it was 77% response. The quality of the environment, 63%, and attracting and retaining skilled people in the area, so with 62% either agreeing or strongly agreeing. So to come up with a list of projects, we had to go through a filtering criteria. I won't go through that, but basically there was a national fit we had to go through. Then we came up with some local criteria, and then we filtered that down and scored them, and the details of which are covered in the report. The investment plan priority projects are I'll cover very quickly now. It's reimagining Middleton Grange Shopping Centre, that's what we're calling it, phase 1. This will be around the bins or the Wilkinson's building, as you members will know it today. This will be achieved by attracting a new mix of uses to the town centre, addressing vacant retail units, and using the town's fund to deliver that first phase of that activity on that corner. Opposite to that corner is the Wesley Chapel, and this building is privately owned. It has current investment for a 36-bedroom boutique hotel. However, since it was extensively damaged by the fire in 2017, it does need significant investment and support, and it is a heritage deficit, and the cost of that restoration, because it's a heritage building, is more substantial than just a normal building. So it is proposed that the town investment plan includes an element of support towards that project. To address skills, which we've covered quite a lot in the town investment plan, and I think quite timely, is our health and care academy that we're proposing. This will be a state-of-the-art social care training facility at the University of Hospital in Hartlepool, and it is one of a handful in the country with purpose-built social care training. It will have medical simulation suites, and the trainees will work on acute care, such as patient and clinical equipment simulators for training in maternity, general clinical skills, intensive care treatment, and major incidents and trauma. It will also look at theatre use as well, because there'll be a theatre in that area. And more importantly, as we look to encourage more people to stay at home and live at home longer, we'll look at a home health and social care scenarios to ensure community health, dementia care, and child and adult safeguarding is addressed. In addition to that, we will build on the work that we've done in partnership with Seymour's and the Hartlepool College of FE, and the project proposed to invest considerably in the growth of teaching and training into civil engineering, and that will see some investment in the Exeter Street annex to the rear of the FE College, and also along Brenda Road, where we'll have some real-world training facilities. The two facilities will be brought together as a civil engineering institute, and with specific additional capacity for the development of skills to support the rollout of 5G full fibre technology. Marina Circuit Phase 1. This is to address the connectivity which we talked about earlier between the town centre and the waterfront. The public realm will see significant investment over the next couple of years, and therefore to improve the connectivity, it's really important that we do that. And this has been a priority project for a number of times, and residents are really keen to sort of see that come to fruition. What I would advise members is our town deal is limited to 25 million, and we did have over 30 projects that we had to shortlist at the beginning of the day. That is not to say that the projects that haven't made it through to this side, this sort of phase, aren't important. They are important, and this plan will help set the seeds to make sure that we continue to deliver them in the future as well. And you'll be pleased to know this is my final slide, Chair. The town investment deadline is for later this month, and if successful, we will have heads of terms offered, and we will have 1 year to work up business cases for each project. There is a risk, I need to remind members, that whilst we can bid up for 25 million, that isn't a guarantee that we will get 25 million. I know some of the Tees Valley authorities that put forward in other phases haven't necessarily got the full amount, so I just thought it was important to remind that. But I think the work that we've done with partners and scrutinising this, it does feel that we've finally got a town centre plan that we can take forward and improve the environment of Hartlepool for many years to come.
Okay, thank you very much, Denise. I've got member Jim, you want to come in? Councillor
Is that okay, Chair?
Certainly.
Yes, I had a real good read through this. There's lots of information on the pinks, but I don't think I need to go into that. I'm really in favour of this project. It's really exciting. I looked at the issues in terms of the Thrive model, funnily enough, and I really think that if you use the letters of Thrive, we can transform the town. It's going to give residents hope. It is a realistic project, and it's inclusive. And the key is it's viable vision, two V's on that, and more importantly, it's enterprising, right? And it's encompassing everything. Reading through everything on there, the key thing to me is it's retaining the education and skill shortage in qualifications, actually developing that. Now, we can't do that overnight. It's going to take quite a few years to get people trained up into the right areas. But obviously, the Seymour Civil Engineering has got a huge part to play on that. And I think that 5G in the future is going to be really important. And if we can get a foothold to develop skills in that area, you know, we can drive the town forward. The Middleton Grange itself, I think everything you've said is correct. It's a bit dilapidated now, and from the pictures I've seen and the vision I've seen, it's really exciting, and I think that will give residents of the town hope, especially when we link that into the waterfront project with the Royal Navy, which will take some time. The most exciting thing for me, or one of the most exciting things, is the Healthcare Academy. That's really, really important, I feel, especially if you look at the situation, health situation in the town, the long-term issues we've got. This will give young people the opportunity to train up and actually be recognised that the healthcare side of things is an important area that we need to develop across the country and especially in the town, because what we want to do is retain young people, train them up, get them with the right qualifications, and if these youngsters go off to college, it would be my ambition to see them coming back and actually working here and keeping the skill base in the town. So overall, you know, I was really excited to see this. I think it's a tremendous vision, and I'd love to see this go forward. Obviously, the 25 million you may not get, so a plan B will be we might have to cut back a little bit or find other areas of investment on that. But the key to this will be the connectivity into the waterfront. That's a key issue, I think. And if people can see that we're starting on the Middleton Grange Shopping Centre, and as an additionality, if I use that word, the Wesley Chapel it's a fantastic looking building. If we can develop that as well, and you've got that connectivity with the waterfront, I think we've got Hartlepool be going places, and we're doing well. So that's it in a long nutshell. and I'm really supportive of this.
Yeah,
Thank you, Chair.
really appreciate those comments, Jim. And I think you've just like stole my thunder, because loads of items that you've raised is what I was going to use in my summing up, but I think people need to be realistic based on what we're putting forward. We think it's realistic, because I sit on the town deal board, and one of the things you picked up on was a health and social care academy, and I was a cabinet member on the combined authority when we were crafting together the education, employment and skills strategy, and it was so important, and everyone was really determined to make sure that that academy was part of the town deal. And we just need to think of it that this is a start of like the renaissance of developing Hartlepool, and 25 million might seem a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money. We're being ambitious, but we are being realistic. So thanks for them comments, Jim. Much appreciated. I've now got Anne, Councillor Marshall, you want to come in?
Yeah, thank you, Christopher. Yeah, I'm over the moon with this, but I just have a couple of questions. Are we putting each project in separately, or are we combining it? How long is the funding over? Do we have so many years that we have to use it? So is it like for 5 years or whatever? And is there an opportunity to match fund, or is this not going to be part of this scheme?
So, Chair, would you like me to come back on those?
Please, yeah.
We'll put them in as a package, Anne, Councillor Marshall, depending on how much money that we are allocated. We might have to look at which schemes we prioritise, or whether we could do some value engineering on some of them. The funding will come to us as a one-er, and we'll have to spend it, and we'll have to agree in our business case what the timetable is and the timescale for that. So we'll do it then. And there's always the opportunity to attract further investment. And we found from the private sector that if you public sector actually start seed funding that they will be prepared to invest in that. And that's why it's really important that we've had the private sector around the table to agree these priorities, as well as our colleges as well, because they can access higher education funding and further education funding as well. So there's always the opportunity, and I see this as the first phase. And I think Christopher's articulated it really well as the renaissance of Hartlepool for the 21st century. I think it's really that thing, and we shouldn't see this is the only thing that our ambitions. As I said, there's another 30 schemes sat behind this that we really are not going to put into the waste paper bin. They're still on the table. We just need to find the opportunity to take them forward as well.
Can I just come back for clarity?
Can I just mention, based on what Denise has said as well, I think built into some of the conversations around the town deal board was the expectation we'll put them in as a group, but obviously when we build the business cases up, there's an expectation, and I use the Wesley Chapel as an example, that we would be part funding the Wesley Chapel, because the expectation is that there will be match fund and there will be private sector investment, which is why everyone's been round the table. So it isn't just we're going to spend £25 million. It's a real rich mix of everyone's contributions to make it happen.
Right.
Sorry,
can I just
Anne, you want
ask,
to come back?
Yeah, just clarity. You were saying that we'll put the business case and then we get allocated the money. What if we don't, like, and then you would say you would pick which ones would fit the amount of money we were given? How?
Sorry, Anne, if I've confused you.
Yeah.
We'll put this investment plan in, and then they'll either say, right, well, we've looked at it, and you might get 25 million, you might get 22, you might get whatever they. And then once we know what we'll have, we'll be given a window to say, right, can you find the match funding to build it up, or can you still deliver this at a reduced scale? And but you get given, I think it's like 28 days to work that through. It isn't a very long period of time. And then we'll obviously have to come back to members and say, like, we're turning this around really quickly. But as Christopher says, well, then I think I'm hopeful that this is a really good submission, and we've had consultants look at it and compare it to other submissions that have been submitted across the country, which is why we didn't want to go first. We wanted to learn from other areas. They think it's a really good bid, so I'm hopeful that Hartlepool should benefit from substantially from this bid. But I would say that.
What date do we expect a decision?
So we submit it on the 29th of January, and we should hear within a month, is what I'm being told. But in the world that we're in, Anne, government might have other priorities at the moment, but we'll see.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. And I've got Paddy, Councillor Brown. Would you like to come in?
Thanks, Christopher. I mean, first of all, yeah, Jim gave a great summary there. This is exciting. It's nice to be a part of it. Just a couple of quick ones. My first one is bizarre, as often mine are, Denise, but if we don't think everybody's going to get the 25 million, surely that leaves some surplus in that government pot. So is there a chance of maybe putting in for extra rather than just the 25 million? I don't know. It's a bit of a throwaway one, but it's worth thinking about. They've announced, I think, 38 million. So if it's not all getting distributed as 25 million, there must therefore be some surplus. So you needn't answer that one, Denise. It was just a comment to leave with you. My only other one is on the positive and negative impacts. We have a negative impact, or rather a no impact, on people who struggle to manage their finances. I know lots of us have areas in our wards where people do struggle to manage their finances, and unfortunately, while it's not exclusive to the less well-off people, it's more common in less well-off people, because if you haven't got much, it's very difficult to manage. I noticed there's nothing for them, but I also noticed there is some allowance for educational on this. Would it be possible to maybe move some of them, because managing your finances is very much an education, and I know it's difficult when you've got very little coming in, but it might just make an impact on lots of people less well off than others if we could put some of that education towards helping them manage their finances.
We will be obviously addressing new skills through the Health and Social Care and the Civil Engineering Academy, and therefore if you're earning more money, in effect you actually do learn to manage better, don't you? So I think actually that impact might need to be reviewed, and we'll revisit that, because obviously we are investing in people in their skills. Then just at college you do actually learn those things, and you also learn through osmosis, don't you, as you go through life. So I think we'll revisit that, Paddy. Thanks very much for raising that with me.
Thanks, Denise.
And I think on that point as well, we already trying to remodel our offer within the hubs around, like, offering advice. So perhaps we can feed that in, that obviously there is a correlation between the feedback that we got on the town's fund deal and what we're doing around our community hubs, and enhancing them to make sure it isn't just one bid to cover everything. As a council, as a whole council, we're trying to cover everything as a one, if that would help.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, are there any further questions? Can I just make a couple of comments? Obviously, I've been privy to be sitting on the town deal board, and I'm not saying it's probably been the easiest task to be a member of the town deal board, because it has been quite challenging. And Denise did allude to the fact that we had so many projects that people want to see Hartlepool reinvented, regenerated, but I am confident that the cases that we've put forward, and I am passionate about education, employment and skills, so to have the Civil Engineering Institute and the Health and Social Care Academy in there is really important to me as an elected member, because I've sort of been entrenched in that. But I think on the Health and Social Care Academy, it actually complements the most recent announcements that came out of the Hospital Trust, that now they do realise the potential of our own hospital, and it's only going to enhance that and make it much more viable for the future. And I think that sends a very strong message out to the people of Hartlepool that we've basically held our nerve through this town deal and made sure that we want our hospital invested in. And the only other item that I wanted to mention today was a huge thank you really to Albie chairing the town deal board, because he's had to hold everything together. And I know, and bearing in mind we're dealing with consultants, private sector, public, everyone together, and but I think we've come to absolutely marvellous result in putting the bid in, and I'm with Denise, and I'm very confident that we're going to be successful with the town deal funding going forward. And I would also like to thank all the rest of the members of the board, and I would especially like to thank Rob Smith and his teams in economic development, and obviously Bev, who came in late pulling everything together, because they've just done a huge amount of work. And I think the report, people might think it's quite a meaty report, but when you have a look at all the reports that came before it and all the meetings and all the data that we had to analyse, it's absolutely vast. So I think everyone's done a phenomenal job, on that. So if there's no further questions, I'm happy to move to the recommendations that are highlighted in the report. No one's mentioned anything on the pink paper, so we don't need to go into closed session. So are members happy to support that we refer this town investment plan to finance and policy for approval on Monday?
Agreed.
Yes. Agreed, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, if there's no dissent, that'll be referred and that'll be debated again. I'm looking forward to the presentation again on Monday.
I was hoping that would just be able to say that it was fully scrutinised in Regeneration.
Well, you can if you like. Yeah, I'm not chairing that meeting, so thank you everybody for your contribution today and participating. I don't have any other items on the agenda, nothing that I consider to be urgent, and the provisional date of our next meeting is Wednesday the 17th of February. So thank you everyone.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care, Brenda. Good luck with
Thanks,
your
Chair.
treatment.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim. Okay. Thanks for
Bye.
having a quick one today.
Okay,
Thanks.
take care. Best
See you
of luck,
later.
Brenda.
Thank
Bye.
you.